Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I go Brande.
Vishnupad Panaman Suparibraj Kacharja Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kunikiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo. Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you to devotees for joining this Friday evening. So today Maharaj will be discussing verse number 23, that is 2:4:23. If you'd like to follow along, and we're posting the translation and the Sanskrit and the translation right here. And as always, feel free to participate and provide your questions, comments, and other input. We appreciate it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrasatam Sahagana Raganathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vanshalko patarubhyascha kripa sindho pyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome and my respects to all, and especially to Pujarta Prabhu and Apurva and Kamalini, and again to all. Uttar Mahadpir Yaima Paro Puro Vipur Nirmaya Shete Yadamushu Purusha Bhunkte Gunan Shodasha Shodashatmaka Salankrishishta Bhagavan Bachamsi Me. Shukadev Goswami is continuing his prayers, almost completing them, reaching the end. And he says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within in his Purusha incarnation, and causes the living beings to be subjected to the 16 divisions of the material modes, of which he is the generator. May he be pleased to decorate my statements. The Bhutai Mahadbhi Ya. Ya means the same Supreme Lord that we've been talking about, that Sukadev Goswami, whom Sukadev Goswami has been glorifying. Imapura Vibhu. Vibhu means the Lord. That Supreme Lord, Nirmaya Shete Yadamushu Purusha, as the appears as the Purusha incarnation, the Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Kshiradakshay Vishnu, and he enters the universe and enters the bodies of all living beings. Along with he enters the elements of the material creation in this way, whether those elements are manifest in individual bodies or the universal body. Shete, he lies down or dwells there. Nirmaya, for being set up, or the dictionary says powerless. The elements are powerless without the touch of the Lord. Bhunkte Gunan Shodasha Shodashatmaka. The Lord is the generator of these 16 divisions of material qualities, and he's the one who causes the living entity to be subjected to them. So Saha, may that same Supreme Lord decorate my words. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may he decorate my words. Alankrishishta. Alankara means a decoration. May he decorate my words. Just as he lives within the bodies of the living beings or within the universe and beautifies them, may he decorate my words. So let's see how Srila Prabhupada comments. As a fully dependent devotee, Shukadev Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead so that his statements may be successful and be appreciated by the hearers. So this is the mood of the devotee. He feels dependent on Krishna and seeks to invoke Krishna's pleasure so that he can serve the Lord nicely. In this case, by speaking, or it may be by archan, by serving the deity, or in any other service. The devotee knows, I can only do this nicely if Krishna helps me. I was hearing the example today from Burijan Prabhu, who I think heard it from me, how well, I can tell the story. I think I've told it here before, that Srila Prabhupada saw a little boy mailing a letter. Did I tell that story before? I think so. All right, I'll tell it a little fuller then. We were on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada at the East River when we were in New York, in Brooklyn. And Prabhupada was coming back from his walk in the car. And as he came to Henry Street, the corner where the temple was located, he saw a little boy mailing a letter. The father was holding a little boy and picking him up so he could reach the top of the post box and mail the letter. And Prabhupada was seeing, and his eyes got very wide, and he was just absorbed in watching this little vignette, this little scene, which lasted, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, less perhaps. He was just absorbed in it, and his eyes were sparkling. I was thinking, what is Prabhupada thinking about? Maybe something from his youth, his childhood rather. And then the scene ended, the letter was mailed, and Prabhupada said, the little boy on his own cannot do. But the affectionate father, when he helps, then it is possible. So this is the position of every living being. On our own, we can't do anything, really. We can't even pick up a pencil without help from the Lord, either directly or indirectly. So the devotee recognizes this, and therefore a devotee like Shukadeva Goswami prays to the Lord, may my effort be successful, may my statements be appreciated by the hearers. Appreciated doesn't mean for fame and glory, but it means may the potency of this message be conveyed to them. The devotee always thinks of himself as instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to take credit for anything done by himself. The Lord told Arjuna, nimitta matra bhavasavya sachin, just become my instrument. So the devotee acts in that way, that I'm just the tool, the instrument of the Lord, and therefore if anything comes out successful, it's Krishna who deserves the credit. The godless atheist wants to take all credit for activities, not knowing that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Spirit, the personality of Godhead. What is that? Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma krataham iti manyate. Everything in the material world is happening by the arrangement of material nature, and the foolish materialist thinks, I'm doing everything. I'm the doer, and therefore I deserve the credit. That's the godless atheist. But a devotee knows that nothing can happen without Krishna's arrangement. Sukadeva Goswami, therefore, wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak the Vedic wisdom. And that will, yes, that was described in the previous verse, how the Lord inspired Brahma, then it appeared that the Vedas emerged from Brahma's mouth. The truths described in the Vedic literatures are not theories of mundane imagination, nor are they fictitious, as the less intelligent class of men sometimes think. The Vedic truths are all perfect descriptions of the factual truth, without any mistake or illusion. And Shukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of creation, not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject, since he would be dictated to by the Lord exactly in the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord is himself the father of the Vedanta knowledge, and it is he only who knows the factual purport of the Vedanta philosophy. So there's no greater truth than the principles of religion mentioned in the Vedas. Such Vedic knowledge or religion is disseminated by authorities like Shukadeva Goswami because he's a humble devotional servitor of the Lord who has no desire to become a self-appointed interpreter without authority. That is the way of explaining the Vedic knowledge, technically known as the parampara system or descending process. So several points here. These Sukadeva Goswami has been asked to talk about the process of creation, and is not going to, well, I think, or my theory is, or it seems to me, or it could be, or some say. That's not his approach. It's not the ascending speculative approach, but it's the descending method, receiving knowledge, coming down from the inspiration of the Lord and from the authorities in the disciplic chain. This is a crucial point, really, of understanding for Krishna consciousness, that it's not bottom up, it's top down. We're not trying to work our way up to an understanding of the truth as the materialistic person is inclined to do. He wants to understand everything empirically, or if he's spiritually inclined, he wants to take an eclectic approach, a little from here, a little from here, a little from here. So he remains the center of the process of putting together a picture of the world. He takes a little from here, a little from there, and then he tries to synthesize it. But the Vedic method, just hear from the superiors in the disciplic succession, and then just repeat what you've heard. The intelligent man can see without mistake that any material creation, whether one's own body or a fruit or a flower, cannot beautifully grow up without the spiritual touch. The greatest intelligent man of the world or the greatest man of science can present everything very beautifully only insofar as the spirit life is there, or in so much as the spiritual touch is there. So Prabhupada's commenting really on this word, alankrishishta. May my words be decorated. So may they be beautiful. Alankar is a decoration. In poetry, there are different poetic devices which are called alankars. In music, there are alankars, and I suppose there are similar alankars, decorations in other fields. So here Prabhupada talks about the beauty of the creation, which appears by the grace of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami is saying, may the Lord decorate my statements. So who is that Lord? He's the Lord who decorates the whole material creation and gives it beauty. He's the person who allows the scientific authorities or scientific pioneers or scientific speculators to speak beautifully. So they can only do that when there's the spiritual touch. The dead scientist has no theory. His words are elegant, or that word is used in mathematics, elegant, or science, an elegant theory. So no elegant theories can be produced except by the touch of consciousness. Without, it's ironic that materialistic scientists use their conscious minds to deny the existence of consciousness as a separate entity. They think everything is just matter. But it's the spiritual touch that allows that it endows everything with beauty. Therefore, the source of all truths is the Supreme Spirit, and not gross matter as wrongly conceived by the gross materialist. The body gets its beauty from spiritual touch. When the spirit leaves the body, it's not at all beautiful. And the universe also gets its beauty from the supreme spiritual being, Krishna. We get information from the Vedic literature that the Lord himself first entered the vacuum of the material universe, and thus all things gradually developed one after another. Similarly, the Lord is situated as localized Paramatma in every individual being. Hence, everything is done by him very beautifully. So this is Purusha. The Purusha appears within the universe. The Purusha appears within the heart of the living being. The 16 principal created elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, and the 11 sense organs, first developed from the Lord himself and were thereby shared by the living entities. So, Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu come, and then 11 sense organs, so 5 knowledge gathering senses, Gyanendriya, and 5 acting senses, Karmendriya, and the mind. The mind is also counted as a sense. So then you get 16 elements acting, first developed by the Lord and then shared by the living entities. Thus, the material elements were created for the enjoyment of the living entities. The beautiful arrangement behind all material manifestations is therefore made possible by the energy of the Lord. And the individual living being can only pray to the Lord to understand it properly. The atheists, what to speak of praying to the Lord, they don't even acknowledge the existence of the Lord. But a devotee like Sukadeva Goswami knows factually that the Lord is the one who makes everything possible or everything beautiful, and prays to the Lord in order to, he's been asked an important question by Parikshit Maharaj, who's on the verge of death and wants to answer suitably. So he prays to the Lord, you please decorate my statements. Since the Lord is the supreme entity, different from Sukadeva Goswami, the prayer can be offered to him. If I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead myself, I don't need to pray to anyone. So this is individuality. Sukadeva Goswami, the devotee, and the Personality of Godhead, the Lord. The Lord helps the living entity to enjoy material creation, but he is aloof from such false enjoyment. Shukadeva prays for the mercy of the Lord, not only for being helped personally in presenting the truth, but also for helping others to whom he would like to speak. Okay, we have some questions. Athena has a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandava Pranam. I apologize if I'm being dense, but I've always been wondering if Krishna is in every atom, and all atoms make up even matter, and Krishna is consciousness, then how come matter is not alive, given that there's consciousness in those atoms? Could you please explain and clarify? Thank you so much.
If Krishna's presence in the atoms, why, as consciousness, why aren't the atoms conscious? The Krishna's, is that the question?
Yes, sorry. And why matter is not alive? Thank you.
Why matter is not alive? From one point of view, everything is alive, because everything is the energy of Krishna, and Krishna is alive. There's, what is it? Sarva Kalavidam Brahma. There's nothing existing. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Nothing exists other than Krishna, and Krishna is completely alive. Therefore, everything is alive. A devotee, a devotee sees everything as being part of the supreme life, Krishna. So, in that sense, consciousness is everywhere, because Krishna is everywhere. Yes, because Krishna is everywhere, consciousness is everywhere. So from that point of view, everything is alive. From another point of view, and after all, even in your body is dead. It's not really alive, but you're alive. You're the conscious being within the body. You're alive, and the body is material energy, so it's not alive. From another point of view, everything is Krishna's energy. Everything is alive, but it appears in different ways. So one is called the external energy, material energy. The other is the internal or marginal energy. So life is everywhere. Krishna is everywhere. What is that? Yes, Krishna is everywhere. Mm-hmm. So even if you look down to the level of the atom, or if you look within the atom, if you look into the subatomic particles, Krishna is there. Krishna is there. So sometimes, sometimes Prabhupada has made that as statements to that effect, that even the atoms are alive. But for practical understanding, or you can almost say conventional understanding, we divide things up and we say that the body is matter, the soul is spirit. But the Mahabhagavat, or the Uttamadhikari, he sees Krishna everywhere. Even within so-called matter, he sees, no, Krishna, this is just Krishna. Is that okay?
Yes, I'll ask my follow-up questions on Sunday. Thank you so much.
Okay. Vijay Krishna has question number 1. Let's see. Yeah, not a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the personality of Godhead. So the living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. They're endowed with minute independence. They can choose between surrender to Krishna or just ignore him entirely. But if Krishna has everyone and everything under his control, even blades of grass, how far can I go with my minute independence? What is the measure and potency of my free will? Just a little better than animal life? So, first of all, you've defined the essential field of free will. We have as Prabhupada said, minute, tiny independence. So our freedom really consists of freedom to surrender to Krishna or to turn our back on Krishna. surrender to Krishna or turn our back on Krishna. That's really, and if I surrender to Krishna, I come under the control or the shelter of the spiritual energy. And if I turn my back on Krishna, I come under the control of the material energy. Then under the material energy, if I come under that control, how much freedom I have depends on how I'm situated in the modes of nature. I put this question one time to Srila Narayan Maharaj, and he answered it in this way, that how much freedom we have depends on the modes of nature we acquired. If you're in the mode of ignorance, you have very little freedom. You know, really very, very, very little. You're dull. But when we come to the mode of passion, we have a little more freedom. We can do this or we can do that. We can dash around or we can hang back. But we're still controlled by those passionate drives and by the restrictions of the material energy. And when we come to the mode of goodness, we have greater freedom because we're no longer passion's slaves. We can think about things, we can consider, we can do something or not do something according to religious principles or our best judgment. Person in the mode of passion, even if he knows something's unwise or irreligious, he can't stop. He has to do it. He's driven. That's the word often used, driven by a passion for, so his freedom is limited by his passions. He's passion's slave. But the person in the mode of goodness has proportionately more freedom because he's in the least restrictive mode. Even if you think about prisons, those who are the most defiant prisoners are put in solitary confinement or restricted in some way or in many ways by the prison authorities. Then the ordinary prisoners are given some greater flexibility, some greater privileges. And the trustees, those who are the well-behaved prisoners, cooperative prisoners, they're given still more freedom. So our basic tiny freedom is Krishna or Maya. And when we're in Maya, then our freedom is greater or lesser according to the modes of we've acquired. But even the greatest freedom, the freedom of being in goodness, is illusory. One is still thinking in terms of the material, the dictations of material energy. Does that answer your question, Vijay Krishna? Prabhu?
Yes. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
And the animals, of course, they're down in the lower sections of the modes of nature. So they have less freedom. And the lower down you go, the plants have less freedom, the fish, and so on. And some of the animals apparently have more freedom. They can move at least. There's moving and non-moving creatures. But those who are below the human life, their freedom is still further restricted.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Samarpana Gopa quotes Chatushloki, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. This is regarding the vision of matter. And there's another verse, actually. Stavra Jangama Deki Nadeke Tar Murti Murti Sarvatra Hoy Nija Ishta Deva Spurti. Though a devotee sees trees and mountains and other living entities moving here and there, he sees all as the creation of the Supreme Lord, and with reference to the context, sees only the creator and not the created. In other words, he no longer distinguishes between the created and the creator. He sees only the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything. He sees Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. This is oneness. Stavra Jangama Deki, not Deki Tarmurti. He sees the moving, the non-moving, but he doesn't exactly see their material forms. Sarvatrohai Nija Ishta Deva Spurti. He sees Krishna manifest everywhere. Okay. Shall we move on to the next verse?
No, Maharaj, if I may.
No, you won't let me. Okay, go ahead.
Maharaj, the same purport. Oh my God. The sentence is as follows. Here it is said that there is no greater truth than the Vedic truth. So my question is, some people say that because we are not demigods, we are human beings. And in comparison with the demigods, we are just mediocre beings. So, and I will add to that there is a Bhagavad Gita verse where Lord Krishna chants to Arjun that if you go for perfection, be careful, because amongst the ones who try for perfection, very rarely it happens for someone to reach it, to achieve it. So all these difficulties are there. So my question is, why should we go for the greater truth? We are mediocre beings. Why not be satisfied with the mediocre truth?
Yeah, that's essentially the materialistic philosophy. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into it, it's fine with me, For me, it's beer in the football game, okay? See you later. That's the effect of the mode of ignorance. He's not only in ignorance, but he thinks ignorance is a good place to be. So he remains low. But jivasya tattva jigyasa narto yaschaya karmibi. The purpose of human life is to inquire about the absolute truth and ultimately to reach the absolute truth. What is that? Tadruvam, tadapi adruvam artadam. Although the human life is very short, it gives the opportunity for freedom from material existence. And also another angle, you think, well, I'll just stay mediocre. But no, if you stay mediocre, you can become less than mediocre. Prabhupada used to quote one of his teachers or professors who used to say that if you try for an A, you may get a B. If you try for a B, you may reach a C. If you try for a C, you may fail. So we may think, no, I'm happy. Of course, now the football games are canceled and so on. That's the other thing, you think, I'll just enjoy, I don't need the supreme enjoyment. I'll just take the standard pedestrian, ordinary enjoyment, but that can be taken away at any moment. People have been leading what we might call a mediocre existence, and now the mediocre existence has turned into perplexity, desperation, confusion, turmoil, danger. there's no guarantee that because your standard is let it always be mediocre like this. But there's no guarantee. It can go from mediocre to awful. You're leading your little mediocre life, and all of a sudden you get the COVID-19 virus, and then you're not in mediocre land anymore. You're in the ICU, or you're not in this mediocre human body anymore. You're pushed down. What is that? Urdvam gachanti sattvasta, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavritista, adho gachanti tamasa. If you cultivate at least the higher quality, the mode of goodness, you may go to the higher regions, the planets of the demigods. And if you cultivate passion, you may stay here. But passion is never pure. It's always mixed. Even goodness isn't always pure. So because of the influence of ignorance, adho gacchami gachanti tamasa. One may be degraded to the lower species of life, become a dog, a cat. One time at his last lecture series in Bombay, Prabhupada was speaking on Savid Varahostra Karai. And after he called for questions, and one sophisticated arguer said, so what if I become a dog? If I become a dog, and we've heard this argument many times, if I become a dog, then I'll have the consciousness of a dog, so I'll be happy, right? We've all heard this argument many times. If I become a dog, I'll be happy because I'll think of myself as a dog. I'll have the consciousness of a dog. I'll have the enjoyment of a dog. So what's wrong there? Prabhupada said, and we were all, how's Prabhupada going to answer this? Prabhupada said, if there's nothing wrong, then it's all right. But we do not think that kind of life is very nice. And everyone cheered, because it was obvious, it was just a sophistical argument. Well, but if I ask you, all right, now here's your little chain that we're going to put around your neck, and here's where you poop, and here's your little bowl of chow. You won't think that life is very nice. Only if your consciousness is cut down to the dog's consciousness, you'll think, all right, this is good. But now you have this human form, and you can see what a miserable life the dog has.
Yes.
Okay.
Maharaj, if I may, just a little note. In school, the bullies, they persecute the ones who try their best to advance. They say, if you do not stop being a nerd, the word in English is nerd? No.
Nerd is a good English word, yes.
If you do not stop going on being a nerd, we will beat you up. So that is the situation in Kali Yuga. We try our best to advance, and still we are persecuted by the ones who think that mediocre life, dog's life is better than human life. Sometimes they say that, like you just said.
Yeah, that was there with Hiranyakashipu, to Prahlad, if you don't stop being a nerd, essentially, I'll beat you up. And Prahlad went, and no, I'll go on serving Krishna. Why should we be bullied by the fools who are themselves under the control of material nature?
Yes.
Even Haridas Thakur, you can cut me up into millions of pieces. I'll still go on with my determination to chant Hare Krishna.
Jai. Haridas Thakur ki Jai.
Jai. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. We have some time left. I think not enough to really cover the next verse, but we'll take a look at it at least and give it a start. In fact, it's the last verse of Sukadeva Goswami's prayers, which we provided the link for earlier. Prabhupada chanting these wonderful prayers by Sukadeva Goswami. Namastasmaya Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedhase. Papur Gyanam Ayam Saumya Yan Mukam Puru Yan Mukam Puruhasavam. Yan Mukam Puruhasavam. I offer my obeisances unto him, Bhagavan, Vasudev, Vedhase, the compiler of the Vedic knowledge, distributor of knowledge. Papu, Gyanam, Ayam, Somya, Yat, Mukam Buruhu, Mukha Amburuha, Asava. This nectar, Asava, comes from the lotus mouth of the Lord. Amburu, Mukha Amburuha, Amburu means lotus. So comes from the lotus mouth of the Lord. And the devotees, Somya, Papu, they drink this knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Purport: in pursuance of the specific utterance Vedhase, or the compiler of the system of transcendental knowledge, Srila Sridhar Swami has commented that the respectful obeisances, Nama, are offered to Srila Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Srila Jiva Goswami has agreed to this, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has made a further advance, namely that the nectar from the mouth of Lord Krishna is transferred to his different consorts, Somya, the consorts of the Lord. And thus they learn the finer arts of music, dance, dressing, decorations, and all such things which are relished by the Lord. Such music, dance, and decorations enjoyed by the Lord are certainly not anything mundane, because the Lord is addressed in the very beginning as Parasmai, transcendental. This transcendental knowledge is unknown to the forgotten conditioned souls. Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of the Lord, thus compiled the Vedic literatures to revive the lost memory of the conditioned souls about their eternal relation with the Lord. One should therefore try to understand the Vedic scriptures, or their nectar transferred by the Lord to his consorts in the conjugal humor, from the lotus-like mouth of Vyasadeva or Sukadeva. By gradual development of transcendental knowledge, one can rise to the stage of the transcendental arts of music and dance displayed by the Lord in his Rasa Leela. But without having the Vedic knowledge, one can hardly understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's rasa dance and music. Pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the rasa dance, as there's no mundane distinction between the two. Somya means the devotees. It comes from Soma, actually, the moon, related to the moon or having the qualities of the moon. The moon is gentle, the moon is beautiful, the moon is the source of nectar. So, Somya, what is that? Vetatvam Somya Tat Sarva. Tattvatas-tadanugraha. In the beginning of Bhagavatam, the Naimisharanya sages address Shukadev Goswami, Sutta Goswami, with this word, Somya. Because you're a gentle disciple, your spiritual masters have reserved all their blessings for you. So the devotees are Somya, and specifically the gentle and beautiful consorts of the Lord are Somya. Let's see, Somya, gentle, mild, happy, pleasant. These are some of the meanings of Somya, having these moon-like qualities. So the verse can be read either way. The nectar coming from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord appears in the form of Vedic knowledge, and especially Srimad Bhagavatam. And it appears in the form of the beautiful dealings between the Lord and his consorts. And both of them are accessible only by hearing from the enlightened souls, the pure souls, who receive this knowledge in the disciplic succession and are able to distribute it by the mercy of the Lord. Are there any questions about this? Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papur Gyanamayam Somya. So Gyanam can be philosophical knowledge, or knowledge of how to please the Lord by dancing, by singing, by so many ways. So we've come to the end of the prayers of Sukadeva Goswami. We have one verse left, which completes the chapter. We could speed through that, but I'm not in the mood to speed. I don't think we need to. Are there any other questions before we wrap up? Though there's one new message. Let's see what it says. Okay. Samarpana asked a question. Can we say that the vision of matter as dead is illusory, not illusion, as said by the Mayavadis? It's not illusory. It's an angle of vision, because Krishna himself says that this is material energy. This distinction is made by the acharyas. We're reading always in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada speaks about dead matter. So it's not illusory, but there's another angle of vision also on it. From one angle of vision, it's lifeless. There's no consciousness in matter. That's the distinction between matter and spirit. The soul is Satchidananda, and the matter is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda, just the opposite. So certainly this distinction is made. the distinction between the body and the soul, the distinction between matter and spirit. Krishna himself is pointing out this distinction between matter and spirit in the Bhagavad Gita. But there's another angle of vision in which Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sarva Kalavinam Brahma, there's nothing other than Krishna. Yes. What is that? Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mayi Pashyati Tasyaham Na Pranashami Sachame Na Pranashati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Out of love, the devotee sees Krishna everywhere. So he doesn't just, so Prabhupada gave the example, the child is grown up and the mother, maybe going through old closet or drawers, sees the shoes of the child. So immediately the mother is filled with thoughts of the child. The child may by now be a business executive or something, but the mother is thinking of, just filled with thoughts of the child. Now these are just shoes, you know, anyone can go to the shoe store and buy them by the pallet. But these shoes, because they're the child's shoes, are have a different significance. So the mother sees the child present in the shoes. So matter is Brahma, but effectively is dead for practical purposes. Yes, Sarva Kalavinam Brahma. There's nothing other than Brahma. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Krishna is everything, and Krishna is not dead. But Prabhupada uses the example that the electrician uses electricity differently, so that it works to heat or it works to cool. You use the electricity in the refrigerator, it cools. You use it in the heater, it heats. So Krishna has multifarious energies, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. And automatically, Svabhavaki, they work under Krishna's direction. And when they work under Krishna's direction, then you see here's matter, here's spirit, here's this, here's that. But actually, there's nothing but Krishna. What is that? There's some verse not coming to mind. But anyway, there's nothing other than Krishna everywhere. And in Bhagavad Gita, Ham Kratur, Ham Yagya, Swadhaham, Ham Oshitam, Mantroham, Aham Evajam, Aham, what is that? Yagya, anyway, the meaning is Aham Hutam. I'm the offering, I'm the fire, I'm the mantras, I'm the everything. Pitamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha Vejam Pavitram Omkar Aham Agnir Aham Hutam. So everything, finally the devotee sees Krishna everywhere. He's even if someone's going to shoot me, well, the gun is Krishna, the executioner is Krishna. Krishna is everywhere. Yes, Prahlad saw Nrsingadev. The Hiranyakashipu couldn't imagine Nrsingadev anywhere, and Prahlad Maharaj saw him everywhere. All right, I think I should stop so that we'll end on time. And we'll finish the chapter in the next meeting. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. And on to Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, dear devotees, for your kind participation. This is a regular announcement. So on Thursdays, we have Maharaj's Ishta Goshti on the 7 o'clock session on Thursdays. So that's a different link in Maharaj's website, jswami.info. under About, and you go to Travel Online Schedule, and you'll find his Ishtagoshti link there. So please feel free to join. I believe we're still doing the 4 rules, Maharaj. Is that the same topic, or are we done with that?
Yes, we are. Oh, no, we haven't. We're just getting revved up.
Started, right? So that's probably going to be an ongoing topic for a few sessions at least.
At least 2 more. We've got
more.
rules. We've covered 1. Yeah, and 3 to go.
All right. So, okay. So please join for that. It's a very engaging topic. And the Pathways to Perfection. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. is Archana Siddhi Devidasi Mataji. We'll be speaking on Dasyam on the tinyurl.com/Bhakti Center. That's a Zoom link, or you can go to YouTube channel, the temple at BC, Bhakti Center, 9 a.m. to 10:30 Eastern Time. And on Sunday, we have His Grace Kaustuba Prabhu. So be sure to join for that. And also on Sunday, be sure to change your clocks. If you are living in the United States, most states will change their clocks 1 hour earlier. So you get 1 extra hour of this wonderful year, 2020. So please change your clocks. And as always, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll continue with Maharaj next week, as we'll continue the next verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much for joining, and we shall see you tomorrow at
Prabhu.
Haribol.
We will be changing our clock in temple at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on Sunday.
9 o'clock on Sunday, because our morning program will be same until Mangala Aarti and Prabhupada Aarti, and after that 9 o'clock we will make it 8 o'clock.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. So
we won't change our clock 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, whatever time.
That's right.
For the temple purpose, we are doing this thing.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
I'm just letting you know so you can let anybody know also.
Right. If anybody's interested in going to the temple in the morning on Sunday, although I don't think many of us will be going, but just in case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clock.
Hare Krishna. So we have to change your clocks back this Sunday. If you're not aware, this is the place that you'll get your information. But if you're in other countries, check with your local authorities. You may not be changing your clocks. Like if you're in India, for example, don't do that. Okay. Hare Krishna, and thank you very much. So please feel free to unmute yourself and say Koi Kari Bhata Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare
Krishna Maharaj. Dandavad Pranam Maharaj. Dandavad
Thank you,
Pranam.
Maharaj. Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Maharaj. Dandavad Pranam.
Haribol, Nilmani Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj ki